What's up, everybody? My name is Kaylinn. I am the key keeper. Tonight, I want to reflect upon my day and also just looking at the transit. Right now, it is 12:07 and it is Cancer rising, part of fortune at 22 degrees Cancer, Lilith at 1 degrees Virgo, Venus at 5 degrees Virgo in the 3rd house. In the 4th house we have Pallas Athena, Mercury, the Sun, Persephone, the South Node and the Moon. In the 5th house we have Mars and Ceres in Scorpio. We have Psyche in Sagittarius. We have Pluto in Capricorn. We have Eros in Aquarius. We have Saturn retrograde at 0 degrees Pisces and Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces retrograde in the 9th house. Right now we have Chiron conjuncting the midheaven in Aries at 17 degrees and the North Node at 24 degrees Aries. We have Jupiter at 12 degrees Taurus in the 11th house. We have Uranus at 22 degrees Taurus. And we have Gemini in the 12th. So looking at this chart as it relates to my day, today I went to a family reunion and it was such a blessing because I really needed in my soul to just have some sort of a homecoming to myself. You know, if you watched my last video, I discussed the Enneagram type 5 and how absorbed we get into the intellectualization of just like the fiction and legalese and jargon and all of that, you know. And because I was doing a lot of subconscious clearing, you know, a lot of things came up about my family just in terms of a light in which I would have never really articulated them in my childhood, although I had feelings and instincts that told me, you know, certain things that I've come to have language for now. But you know, what I've said thus far is nowhere near as full of a scope, you know, because those things were just contextual as it related to when and where it was discussed peripherally in relation to something else, you know. And so I just want to kind of like give a better honoring of just what this day has been. I actually feel like I want to like ask my aunt to send me the slideshow that they had there, just because there are some pictures that I feel like I could create beautiful collages from when I edit this. And but at the same time, like, I just had this like thought of like, no, don't put your generations into the AI to become avatars and stolen likenesses and stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry for just like I just feel like, I don't know, I'm apologizing to, at this point, I'm even compassionately like wanting my intention to extend to the phone. Not because I want to spiritually give power to matter in Babylonian ways. But yeah, like I have to appreciate like there's so much work that people have put into me having this in my hand right now. Um, so to me, like the phone doesn't become like despiritualized because of it being a technology used for either good or bad, right? Um, it's just like any herb in the field or any like piece of clay you pull from the mountain top and start molding from clay figures, I guess. Um, yeah, even the fact that Sleek Dissident also brought to my mind the idea of the phone as a touchstone, you know, within his symposium. It's this passing the microphone with the talking stick, um, and the altar of that podium becomes the representative of the stand-in, um, like who will be imbibed by that spirit or that uh, archetype that now needs to speak. So today, just watching my family, I could see so much of what was missing from like myself in them, you know, because I started feeling like, okay, the full picture of what I am and what I'm capable of and things like that. I don't have it in the family that I am most associated to closely. So I don't know if it was a matter of me like outgrowing them or feeling stagnating in um like what I could have learned from them. And I'm thinking like, am I just like giving them credit now, making up ideas and edifices because I'm trying to like have a wholesome psychology. So, you know, uh I'm now starting to cast my family members into these archetypes and view them in ways that allows different parts of my psychology to resonate with their words and their actions and things like that, you know, and not trying to be so judgmental or self-preserving like Chinky 36, pardon, learning to like let in the turbulence because, you know, a pure heart is a pure heart. If it experienced everything, it's still a pure heart. But I do believe like a mind can be poisoned, you know, a heart can be hardened. I do believe that like trauma does things to people where they actually do experience soul loss or memory loss, or like they can only feel they can exist in a certain space, and like those grooves and shit in the brain, it's like telling you where you are not allowed to go and who you are not allowed to be and what you are not allowed to embody or see or think or um yeah, like I feel like just like any time I feel like I thought of something and it was somehow uh creating a conflict, of interest, when my only interest was like, well, why is it interesting? Because it's connected to this and to that, and it comes from here and this and that are like, oh, that makes it more interesting. Like, me just always being flamed by curiosity, right? And then like having the cats, like the punarvasu of it all. It like, yeah, like it's like there were just many eyes that I've called upon myself that I wanted to decide identify with, or like, yeah, like run away from, or it's like you couldn't forget that you were this or you were that, and now you feel tainted trying to be like this or that. And so I was just like very awkward today, but I felt like I judge myself as being very awkward, but um to the people there, okay, they maybe felt like I'm just like removed, to the extent of everybody is taking up space to talk and I'm giving them space to talk. I'm observing, I'm listening, I'm laughing along when something is funny, I'm, making eye contact. Like, to me, like, those things are like sometimes very difficult, because I'm like, I can like just be so neutralized in the mental realm of it all, that like giving myself over to like sincere emotion, um like sometimes it's about like, okay, my teeth, like I feel like laughing makes me look ugly, but other times like I forget it's maybe that, and I just think to myself like, well, feel like I look at people and it's like they don't see me. It's like they see everything that they hope I don't see, because it's like they know I'm looking at everything. And there's just, I don't know, it's like, even if I don't know you, like I just like unnerve people sometimes. And it's really like just the more confident, strongly individual people who can take up space around me and like, um not be intimidated by either my presence or just like my uh observed absence or removal, or whatever it is that just makes me kind of like feel like at this point I don't know whether I'm trying to be blended in or whether I'm trying to be noticed, or like asked to interject or give an opinion or something like that. Because it's just like, it's so fascinating when like everybody just talks all at once and you can just like see all the personalities and all the, you know like the stories. Like I love, like today, that's what I'm saying, like it was so enriching to my soul. It was like manna from heaven, like just after this whole trial that we've been through, right? Because God knows, like it took me there for a while. So it was like we had some of our Khoisan heritage explained, some of our English, and Irish and Chinese heritage explained, um, and just like various parts of like um, Cape Malaysian or Cape Colored, uh, just how we were like scattered because of like group areas act, and because some of my family members are more fair and some of my family members are more dark. So it was just a whole coming together of like, the Parsons, the Lewis is the and like our family name is Africa, right? And and so yeah, like I mostly know my mom's side of the family. Like my mom, through her mother, has quite an extended family because my grandmother, they were like 13 kids. So all of those kids had kids and got husbands and wives and had kids, and so like that's a huge family on that side, right? And through my dad, I just kind of knew his sisters, and so my grandmother has a child, uh, premarital, and she has my grandmother's maiden name of Parsons. So so I kind of only knew like that thread. I didn't know there were like so many different branches and extended families, and because also my grandfather from my dad's side, um his nephews and nieces and children and so on, their family, everybody is still alive and well. Most of who we could contact, came, and so it was very humbling for me to kind of see like just some of my features in some of the people that I met, and just some of my like personality traits. Like there are people who love to talk people's ears off, just like I am often guilty of doing. And like even me and my cousin said at once, like, this is why we can't shut up. And yeah, speaking of my cousin, like she had a battle with drugs and she is sober now. Um, she has the most beautiful voice. I remember going to a talent show when she was 13, and she had like on this silver dress and this like frizzy big Diana Ross hair, and she sang The Greatest Love of All, and those judges made her sing without her backtrack because they were like not convinced that that was not Whitney Houston, because she sang that well inflected, well modulated, beautiful, clear, big belt, velvety, husky, lower notes, just a natural mixed voice that was self-trained. And she's a Taurus Gemini cusp, May 24th. So yeah, even today looking at her, it's like I could see like the taurine eye shape, and like that very Rohini lunar looking eye, reminiscent of a cow, quite literally. It was like even the fact that she had the type of like chest and like the broad hunch punched, like such a like you could just see like her chest and like her back is more like developed to be to sing. And so it was like beautiful for me, like just seeing astrology in a very natural way, right? um Especially like because she's gained weight now, she's like looking a lot healthier now, so like you could just like see like how her body also filled out in relation to the genetics that she shares between her mom and her dad. So like it was just like it was a very like artistic experience for me. um seeing that and just like also like appreciating like how far along she's come and that she's happy, you know, like I feel like I haven't sincerely seen her happy since she used to babysit me as a child and be so excited to come home from school, you know, because then we would do all sorts of like shit. Like, oh my God, like the types of shenanigans we would do. Um, just like doing makeup, doing like plays, doing um like challenging each other to like draw the Garfield from like the cartoons in the newspaper. Like we would just like be so like artistically imbibing of each other's creative spirit, and like we would always find ways to like make jokes and like I love my cousin for like I remember this one time um like my literal sentiment to the memory of like being excited for the day ahead or something, like it's um colored in with just seeing her like waking up behind my eyes when she was like, Kaylinn, staan op, ons gaan Katrintjies terug toe. Um, and yeah, it was like we were gonna go to the pools that day, and there was gonna be slides and all sorts of things there. So yeah, I'm just super happy that she is in a happy place and that like we were able to like, you know, find each other again. Because like remember that I think the last time I saw her, it was at my dad's mom's funeral, and I was so bad at my makeup back then that like she just looked at me so weird because like my under eye concealer was probably not highlighting what I was needing to highlight and probably highlighting exactly what I was trying to hide, which was like dark circles. I think I just used a very beige tone concealer, and I have like olive yellow undertones with red undertones, and I like tan very easily. So yeah, like just like I can't like wear any foundation. Um, like I'm a MAC NC45 in the summer, NC 43 in the winter, and then like, but I still have to kind of like at the end of summer, like I need like a NC 47 or I need like an NW 45 as like a bronzer or type of thing to just like be like a peachy, because otherwise like my tan, I can't use too neutral of a foundation on a tan because then my undertones look gray and purpley again. It's like a weird thing. Anyway, back to foundations or foundations. This was just like very good for my Ketu in Pisces. And even looking at this transit having the moon and the sun and Persephone and Pallas Athena in the south node in the fourth in Libra. Yeah, like even the Ceres and the Mars in Scorpio, like at the second degree, like we were trying to put a bullseye penetrating that 12 degree series of like the roots of the moms, and you know, like they were talking about like which baby was caught by who and this and that, and like and who acts like who, and like they were trying to like figure out like, oh, like what is your family's like archetype of this person, or like who's your like, you know, like in South Africa, like if there's like a problem child who's like a drug addict, like, you know, like they will always like they would just like say tikop, like meth. um so like it's like everybody could now find peace about the fact like, oh nee, hulle took a thing like that, um and like, my dad's brother, he was like that, and now my dad's son, my other brother, he's like that as well. And like, I mean, like, I smoke weed, but like, I don't steal anybody's shit to like, and I don't like beat up my mom for money. So, not that I'm like trying to diss him. I'm just saying like it's like a different thing. But I'm like at the same time like feeling so like I can understand the type of wounding that takes a person there, you know, because like my crack is like information. It's like all these worlds and things where I can like escape into and like feel some sort of like grand design or pattern or family or whatever it is. It's like this affinity between things that relate them based on the most harmonious relationships, um or affinities or symmetries, like. And so it was very Venus of Cancer appreciative of me today, like feeling um like after all the searching and asking and contemplating and releasing and putting things out and trying to find perspective and all of that through Keykeeper's channel. It's been kind of like me also manifesting that. Like that wasn't necessarily like an intention that was fully formulated to be like, I want a family reunion with my dad's side of the family and so on. But like it was definitely there just in terms of the general idea of like, I need to understand my roots. I need to understand where I come from. I don't feel like I know enough. Like I said, I don't feel like I have the books and the records and like I can always have this like knowledge that I'm like, okay, I'm avaricious. I'm hoarding a lot of like intellectual property that is not mine. But, Dylan Sakosio could have his spirit world and have his family name and have his things going all the way back to when things that we read about today is like being put in play by like very prominent people. So yeah, I didn't have that. And like at best I knew that like I had French Huguenot um ancestry. Like that was my most, I guess, elite claim to fame. But yeah, even that, like it wasn't like, because like my family on my grandmother's side, they are very proud of that name, right? And like they always say like de Villiers bloedloop sterk and stuff like that. Like they are very proud if like um even like my grandmother, like when her kids started giving her grandkids and stuff in a weird kind of way. And I love my grandmother, but I'm just saying like she really did appreciate the more fair complected kids, um because it was like a way for her to feel um that's what she gave them, even if like uh because like my mom isn't my grandmother's or my grandfather's child. um my mom was the result of a RAPE, and I just think that's why my mom and my grandmother has such a weird relationship of like we need each other, but like we can like really like um yeah, like they can just like bring out like the worst of each other, but like they love each other. Like my mom will always like sacrifice everything for her, but in a way of like proving like she will do what the other kids won't do for my grandmother, right? But then my grandmother is always kind of like protecting my mom in ways that makes the other kids feel like, yeah, my mom gets to live here basically rent free. And it's just like it's this weird dynamic because it's like anytime my mom has like a problem with somebody, then it's like she will rather like minimize it so that she doesn't have to have conflict with my grandmother. But if my grandmother has like conflict with any of us, or like she is like talking to me and my sister directly in ways that are like demeaning, or like she just like projects a lot, and like even if we help her around the house, even if we do everything that she asks, if she gets to a point of feeling like one thing isn't done that she wanted to be done, or like or whatever, like she will just like tear into you in ways that are like it's so it's so like unnecessary, because I'm like, if you wanted me to like clean up better after myself or something like that, you could tell me that. um but you didn't have to speak to the walls as if like you are living with like pigs, and like people just take your house for like, you know, like if because I sleep in the living room, right? um like I want that to be like my space, to the extent that it can be my space when it's like my bed is made there at night. I have to like get it out of the way and stuff during the day. um but yeah, like if I like leave a cup there, or if I like thing is then it's like it can be something to be like so vehemently projected about, that it's like she channels her entire frustration of like everybody else through that one thing. So it's like, God forbid you are the target at one point for that thing. So it's just like always making me so like Mars in Virgo about like, you know, whenever I do the dishes or something, I will like make sure like every nook and cranny is dried off for this or that, or whatever, because it's like she could like nitpick everything. And this isn't how my grandmother on my dad's side, because she was the most chilled person I've ever met in my life. Like she just loved and embraced everybody. She was a church lady until she couldn't walk no more. And yeah, she just wanted to keep the peace at all costs. And so, you know, just recognizing today that there was a whole side to her lineage that like kind of went unrecognized. Same for my grandfather. Like I don't really know why my dad didn't really like, maybe it's because the family was so scattered, maybe because there was a lot of like internal type of dynamics, because you know we were divided, we were like not allowed to be a family under certain laws, and certain people were not allowed to be married, or you know what I mean, like there were all these things in the substratum obviously, but you know people are there trying to like tell their life story and make it funny and remember the good, but also get all of the, you know, knowing of themselves expressed so that they are not forgotten. So there was a huge gratefulness within me when I was just like, I was telling my parents even, like, I'm actually not regretting that I came, because I don't really like stuff like that, because my dad's immediate family, sisters in particular, his brother, who was, I believe he's still an addict, um and the other sister passed away, the one that was a premarital child from my grandmother. And she was also like fairer skinned, um like my grandmother, and my grandfather was very dark skinned, and my aunt is, and my dad and my dad's brother, they have skins closer to my grandfather's color, and my dad being kind of like the, like in the medium dark range, and like he would be like a, on the foundation spectrum, he would be like a medium deep, but it depends whose foundation collection. um so yeah. And then like my aunt who taught me about manifesting, the lawyer, the one who uh gave me my vision of an aspiration in life, life, who, you know, really activated my Cubera, my desire principle, because her name is Desiree after all. So she made me have the Venus in Cancer desire for the finer things, because, you know, she was able to bring this aura of articulation to like what I wanted for my own mom, and was kind of like trying to like groom my mom into being like, even as a child, like I was very, I guess, psychologically coercive in terms of, but I guess my mom's Scorpio mind power just knew she needed to stick with that twin flame. But yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, like I was trying to like make my mom see all the bad in my dad, and just I wanted her to divorce him, because I was like, girl, why would you let him treat you like this? Like, I don't get it. Like, why don't you want a husband like my aunt who treats you well and builds you a house, and um like takes responsibility for every promise made to give you a dream life as a reality, as an actual substance, right? Like, I always feel like my dad gave my mom like beautiful talk, and like just like, I don't know, it's like he could just look at her in a way that like made her swoon and melt. And if he looked at it otherwise, like she would become like, oh, just like a whole, like so unbecoming of a lady. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ugh, it's just like not a pretty sight to describe your mom as like a jealous um woman who's literally like still, like my mom would um just like, ugh, my mom is such a badass as like a fighter. Like she could hold her own. Like that's why I say like I oftentimes like it's literally like I hated my dad because it's like I wanted him to like be the man and not lose his cool when my mom was being all up in his face and like just disrespecting him and emasculating him and like just projecting all his suspicions so vehemently onto him when like I feel like my dad didn't cheat until like he felt like my mom believes it anyway, so he might as well. I think he just like wasn't ready to be like a father to like two kids, and my mom had a child from a previous relationship that he had to take responsibility for. um I'm not saying he was like he didn't make that mental promise within himself, but I do feel like he started like running away in this Aries burning of a trail, like please leave me because I'm no good for you and you're gonna figure it out sooner or later, so it might as well be sooner, so I'm gonna aggravate it type of thing. I don't know like what he was trying to do, but ugh, these lovers quarrels. um and like even today the way he was like showing her off like this my Froki, this is my wife, and just so like so grateful like she's still on his side, because I'm like, yeah, like back in the day when you thought you were the like just the big daddy, um you were willing to like sit on her chest to like just make her feel um no matter what she does to try and influence you to change for the better. Like, yeah, like I get my mom was like wrong in like fighting with him and stuff like that, but like she was fighting with him because she was fighting for him. She wanted him to be home, she wanted him to be there for us, and not like she wanted him to talk to her and not like find outlets in friends who he is always spending money on and leaving us like without food and not paying our bills and rent and stuff, and then the landlord comes and shuts off our power and our water and shit like that. So I get it. My mom is a Scorpio, was like fighting for the shared resources of like, you made a promise, bitch. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was like, if you don't love this man, go make your own money, go make your like you have skills, you can stitch, you can create anything. If you can make a pattern for it or like figure out, like my mom could cut up a bag and like make a pattern out of it and then like make a new bag out of a different fabric and stuff like that, or she could reinforce a broken bag with like knowing how to like re-engineer what's already there. Like my mom's a Scorpio, so like she knows how to like transform stuff, right? And so I have to give it to her in terms of like just transforming my dad's kind of like his mommy issue and his um needing to individuate and stuff like that. Like she gave him all the ability to like separate from her in that Sam Vaknin model, but she was there to be at the end of it like, I still love you, and I will forgive you first, and I will place this in the wisdom of the Lord to guide me to know it's for my highest good. And I could never really understand that. Like I wasn't emotionally mature enough to understand any of that, right? Like those types of sacrifices for love. Like, yeah, you fucked up, but I love you anyway. And hopefully in this life we'll get you to a point of not being so hot-headed or selfish or whatever the tempering the Aries spirit of my dad needed from my mom's more evolved Scorpio stallion of a fucking spirit. And in this sidereal, it's like in Libra, so even that. So I'm just like, the astrology and stuff, it's giving me such a big lens to appreciate stuff in context that I never really thought I could, aside from calling it magical thinking or like script writing or like symbolic narrative stealing. Because it always felt like whenever I like watched a movie like Enough, and there was an aspect of my mom in Enough, it was enough for me to like have that as a hope of like what the story could have turned out to be. But just the fact that she stayed and I couldn't, like, she stayed, and then it's like her relationship with my dad improved, like to the extent that the physical part, they got over that. My dad stopped being with those friends. My dad stopped drinking the way he used to. Like now my dad only drinks basically with my eldest brother and like older uncles and stuff that are people who are like married into my grandmother, my mother's sisters and stuff like that. Like those are the only company my dad would entertain like that. And my dad's at home all the time, and my dad cooks for us. My dad, like things that like in the past we would like yearn for that, because he is a really good cook. And then like there were literally sometimes fights about the fact that like my mom screwed up some exotic kind of meat or some rare fish that he bought for my sister's birthday because she's a Pisces. But then it's like he forgot it's her birthday, and then he was like drinking, and then he was binge drinking, and then he was not there like for a week, and then like, you know what I mean? So shit like that. So yeah, like today he was like, expressing his health concerns to his sisters and stuff like that, how he's weaning off the prednisones, because he's experiencing side effects from that, the different inhalers the doctors prescribed for him and so on. And I was just sitting there watching all of this, and it's like my mom was there, and literally the only problem that I had was, it wasn't the fact that my mom was enjoying getting to know his side of the family or anything like that, but it's the fact that I see my mom being this regressed little girl version, shy version of herself. And I don't know if it is to please him or it's just because she has learned that that is the safest way for her to like show emotional capacity for reflection that isn't incongruent with what my dad's spell would need him to think is her narcissistic extension reflecting him to his family. Because it's like, yeah, like I don't know, it's like I don't know if he like, because like even sometimes, like even today they have like these like, just sometimes these like snide little ways of talking to each other, and I'm just like, ugh, are we doing this again? Because I'm like, I don't even know like how intense it's gonna get, between an Aries and a Scorpio. Like it can just be hot, cold, instantly like that, like cardinal spark, instant freeze, or it can like be like, no, you sparked something and now my mom's Scorpio is gonna like thaw you the fuck out. You know, like my mom, she's so, and she's never lying unless she's lying to like hide stuff. Like my mom only like lies by omission. But like she's a Gemini moon, she's a Gemini rising. She knows how to like listen. It's like she hears what you said, but like the particular element of what she tells you she heard to what you said within her response. Like it's just fucking classic Gemini word salad fucking manipulation. And I fucking love it. But my dad is like so direct and forthright, like he can't like stand it. Like, and then I'm like, ugh, yeah, these guys and gals. But today it was so refreshing to me that like, yes, my dad is in this ill health situation and my mom is, I don't know, like a codependent, prideful, I'm here for him through thick and thin and things like that. And I'm just like, I see it there just a little bit, or is it just me seeing it? Because now I'm about amongst all these family members and they are looking at them like, wow, you're a beautiful couple, and like, because they don't know them like that, right? And they're like, you have beautiful kids, and oh, Kaylinn looks like his mom, and Kim, she definitely looks like her father. Um, yeah, because like my eye shape is more like almond shaped like my mom's, and like I have the more like heart shaped mitigated deer faced bone structure, whereas my sister has the more oval faced fish beauty, Ravati, Angelina Jolie, but soft Bratz doll type of thing with like the big eyes, round eyes, like my dad. Um, because my dad is also like a Pisces Aries cusp, so he has those features as well. Cusp of rebirth, right? So my unconscious sun is in Jinki 25. So yeah, like that's why like my dad is always kind of like so frustrated seeing the aspect of himself in me so embodied, because he's like, fuck, it's like inner all my inner sanctum notions of like how I think I come across in the world when I calculate it and stuff. This child is like that. Like he doesn't think of it, like he just is like that. He literally thinks he's the best. He literally thinks he can do anything. And I'm like, well, dad, like just love me because I want to be the best for you. I want to make you proud. I want to tell everybody, like, you're my dad. This is what I learned from you, you know? And it's like he was never allowing me to find him like that, because he was always trying to, like, break down the altar of what he needed to, like, um, see within me. Um, and then I just learned to, like, mimic all of his like Aries, Gemini, Navamsha, Padanas, because I was like, I can be the Dioscuri, you can cut off one head, and I can Ashlesha Hydra, like, but I will continue to evolve so that I can position myself in a way where you stare at me and I'm not gonna like cower, because that's my Mars North Node in the 10th house. Like, I am not gonna be fearful of even my own fucking father when it comes to like my conviction of my most spiritualized inmost truth. And even if I have to argue with him about the values that he taught me that he is being hypocritical about, or being like don't do what I say, or don't do what I do what I say, or this or that. And I'm just like, ugh, like, what is this Enneagram type 5 don't ask too much shit? And I won't ask too much, because that's why I learned to be independent in the way that I could, finding these other avenues to like absorb that energy that I was supposed to be able to like invest into my parents. I was supposed to be building a relationship with them. I was supposed to be nourished by them. But like, my design pushy moon, like in a weird way, it's like I'm supposed to like also be nourishing them, but I don't know it yet. And it's like I will only be allowed to know it when I really like understand myself. And in a Scorpio moon way, I'm also supposed to be, according to the tropical and the sidereal, mastering the zodiac gives me Libra moon at the very cusp. Scorpio Oxman decoded that as like the Libra rabbit and the spirit of the butterfly. So even that, it's like there's a part of me that needs to be like the rabbit hole to my parents' um spiritual growth, right? Because in many ways, like it's like I'm the child that like they feel like, oh, if only we can get Kaylinn to like work for us or work with us, we can fucking go places in this world. It's like they have this like all in, like, as much as they like love my brother and sister and so on, they just like they don't have that same uh like harboring that same um confidence or expectation um of being like gifted or manifesting a gift, right? Because like my sister, they didn't even really care if she goes to college, um or like in school, like, yeah, they would tell her like, get your grades up, like, or you don't get to go to this sleepover or something like that. But like they accepted her all the same, like in the sense of like, even if you don't do as well as your brother, don't compare yourself to your brother, because you are good at what you are good at. And if that's what they needed to tell her at the time, when she's already just internalized fear of bringing home a report card, it was just another way of them kind of like learning to like move with the information at their disposal, to like always like avoid being emotionally responsible for how they made us feel. And therefore, like me and my sister, like we have so many kinds of fucked up, because it's like our parents were smart enough to like be like my wife and kids and like have a family discussion or this or that. But at the same time, it's like there were only two actors there, and yet those two actors made it seem like it's all about us, and everything that's being done is for us, and that we are the principal sayers of yes or no, because it's like what would be best for us. So they would like put us in these weird dichotomies of choices. Like if they had a fight about like who was supposed to buy us clothes for today's reunion, for example, my dad would literally tell me something like, I'm gonna like send you X amount of money. I'm gonna send your sister the same. It's basically my cell phone money, that because I was planning to buy myself a new cell phone. But me and your mommy got into an argument about this, that, and the next. I'm not gonna like not crap talk your mom, and I'm just gonna do this, and like trying to make me convinced, like, okay, he's had some emotional maturity to now be a bigger person about whatever. But I'm like, literally, like, you still felt the need to like absolve yourself from whatever responsibility you had towards us. Even like asking this, right? Because I'm like, he literally got an inheritance. He bought all sorts of crap, notwithstanding he like bought a car and bought everything that he needs for like medicine, a ventilator, everything he needs for like his health situation and so on. Like, we are eating the most fancy seeds and nuts and big mushrooms and just like we've never eaten like this Lux before. And I'm like, wow. And he's still trying to like convince me like he didn't get that inheritance. He sold his Bucky and his old car, and that's not how he could afford a new car. But I'm like, the math, like, even for me, I may have gotten 33% for math in grade 11, but like the math isn't adding up. And so that sister of theirs that passed away, the Parson sister, she had a house that basically her estate was divided amongst her siblings, and she had many like life insurance policies and things like that that she had to her name, that she was very diligent in paying. So there was quite a lump sum for everybody. Um and and yeah, like, it's just like, it's so like, and that's why like I just like, I don't, as much as I want to love everybody and stuff, like, I just hate being lied to, because it makes me want to be the worst liar back. Because it's like, and why I say the worst liar is because I will use the truth to evade needing to tell the truth, and essentially like lie about myself while being the truth that I'm telling to you. Yeah, if that makes any sense. Um, like, yeah, like, I've just like, I know how to Lilith in Hasta in a, yeah, like, guys, I don't even like I can fucking pretend to be anything to anybody without blinking an eye, because it's just like, it's a survival thing. Like, I didn't know who to trust, and I would just respond to the cues of what my gene key 12 discriminated, and the caution that I felt around those um, streams of information. Pluto in Sagittarius, Saturn in Aries, Lilith in Leo in the other system. Like, to me, I like I see it all together, right? So sometimes I just like, I don't want to reference it, so when it's like, but I want to reference it like that so that it's like, okay, I can see a context archetypally. But yeah, today it was just very satisfying for me to feel like that Chiron in Aries at 17 degrees. It's like I could see everybody starring in the light from the um ascension out of the wounding, because everybody could relate to, like, just being blessed to be like after COVID and everything, but from the generations of people who were there, like they were blessed to be there, like ever since like District 6 and group areas acts and things like that were already putting their lives in like just insecure uncertainty, so it's very humbling that like um everything that at Pureke's Lake has been thus far could have culminated to me appreciating what happened today in the light that I could, because it's like my family wasn't like talking about being different races or different uh, clans or stuff like that. Even though like I literally have an uncle who um like he was literally like the chief of the uh the Khoisan people in so far as there being a representative of that culture in parliament, um he was that guy. So yeah, I'm very very inspired just based on everything that I've learned and every aspect of myself that gained more perspective to this homecoming within myself. Because it's like I could see the spirits that I was needing to be part of the family tree or part of the story and so on. Because I'm like, even me and my cousin Renee, who I spoke about, the one who can sing so beautifully. She, like, we both realized, like, literally at the same time, like, is this why we talk so much? Like, she literally said it, like, I'm always being told to shut up, and like, I don't get it, and like, the lady next to me literally cried and being very like emotional or something, and and so it's like I could just like I could relate to her because I'm like I know I felt that way. Um, so yeah, it's just like all of these realizations that we've been having about like, well, what is our preferred state? What is our, like, how do we want to present ourselves? How do we want to like be received? And what do we think of ourselves? Instead of like the altars and the, okay, I trained myself to be this person to survive this other person's narcissism or abuse, or, this is me being parentified by a parent who had the energy of my parents. This is me feeling like I'm compensating. This is me identifying as a golden child, or as a scapegoat child, or as a circuit breaker child, or as a, like, as a hoped for savior child. Like, yeah, it's like my family like expects me to like become something great so that they can also live an American dream. It's just like it's this weird thing because like ever since my aunt took me under her wing, like on the one hand it was because she and her husband wanted to have kids, and they were in a process of trying to conceive, and she would basically fetch me and my sister to see if their relationship would survive having kids, like if they could take care of us, if they could, and so yeah, I didn't know that was like, of course there's love and stuff like that, but just the fact that like people behind closed doors would be like, let's do like an experiment. Let's go fetch your brother's kids and see how our relationship survives dealing with them. And like us being, already like having certain psychological notions. Um, like, yeah, were they fully aware that they were like bringing kids into their lives in that way who was at risk to attaching in a just like insecure attachment style, or yeah, like I don't really know what to call it right now, but because even in later years, like today, I felt so like I still feel shame every time I see my aunt, because I'm like, I feel like I didn't earn interest on her money. I didn't um become a lawyer and make so much money that I was able to like buy houses and flip properties the way she did. So it's like I failed the opportunities that I've been given, because like, like I took time to myself, because I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where I was heading. I didn't know if I wanted to be there. I didn't know if I was equipped. I didn't know myself. All I knew was I could become the thing that survives. And so like, what is living? What is thriving? What is being present? Um what is non-hypervigilance? What is uh like non-catastrophizing? Like, I don't know that. I don't know that. I'm not saying I do it all the time to be like debilitated by it, but it's just like, like, why should my consciousness throw away what it's learned before when it helped me? And then somebody cannot just tell me, okay, this is not the best way to deal. You are traumatized. Come to therapy and then like learn to deal in a different way. Like, I get it. Like, if you don't feel like if you feel stuck in a pattern and you feel like you don't know how to break your pattern, or you keep manifesting the same results even if you try to break your pattern, like, that's what I can understand therapy for, right? But I feel like most people just don't want to admit that they want to go back to something that they know is not good for them, because they haven't figured it out yet. Um, because they need is for everything that doesn't agree with you. It's like the soul needs the alchemy of making yourself agreeable to it, so that you can have compassion for just the life and the fullness of what you've experienced. But the thing is, like, I just feel like there's a culture that has now essentially capitalized off having a quote unquote rags to riches story, or having a underdog story, or having some sort of Scorpio transformation Phoenix story, because it's like those are the most captivating, right? And but no one really, like, not no one, but very few people actually go through the process of trying to understand what they can tell themselves instead of always trying to understand what they've been told. It's like, okay, but my inner voice spoke, or when I said, I don't quote, or, you know, we can all row and still be in a dream of a boat. I don't know, but yeah, it's like it's like I can hear people assimilate, and I can hear people um individuate. But I don't know, like, it's like there's this fine balance of, like, how do people, like, find the wisdoms and keepsakes and meanings of language and expressions in their time as a concealed veil to their emotions and thoughts and stuff like that. Like, how does all of that say what they really alchemically stand for, as like a crucible, or as an experience, or as a capacity for understanding multi-leveled experiences, right? So hearing my family today talk about, like, just like the archetypes and the appreciation for life with all these casts of characters that we also just have to learn to live with and love, even if they frustrate you so much. um it was ultimately a very healing experience, and I feel like everybody needed that, and I'm glad that I went because I needed that, and I'm looking forward to just being able to bring a more wholesome energy to myself and bring that to the channel as well. You know, if you guys saw my other post, I am doing readings now. So if you want a reading, it is $20. If you are African, it is 270 Rand. So I am compiling key keepers. So if you want a reading done, email me your name, birth date and time, and any key that you feel is relevant, either if you know the meaning of your name, or if you have a favorite spirit animal, or you have a certain animal totem, perhaps in Chinese astrology or something like that. If you want it done according to tropical or sidereal, which one are you more comfortable with? Do you want mastering the zodiac or human design? Just so that I can tailor it to everybody, and then add the key keeper touch to that, because I can then give you the baseline of how you are telling me you are best able to receive it, and then I can build around that the uh, the keys into which you can explore further, because I want to compile for you guys the various references that I use, and then archetypally apply it to you guys, like the way I decipher the names, and and the esoteric astrology of the signs through natal chart synthesis and mastering the zodiac, Asterian plotted nakshatras a la Scorpio Oxman. That's just like a means of me finding specificity, you know, because like you can get a human design according to sidereal, you can get placements plotted according to a stellarium app and like try to visualize like how close to a nakshatra, a yogatara you actually are, because sometimes a calculation and a degree can tell you one story, like, you know, a 17 degrees, a Leo degree, or whatever that is supposed to be. But looking at where things actually are, like I'm basically going to just look at the Stellarium app when I need to channel the energy of your birth time, and then everything else will be the keys of the types of conversations you can have with yourself or with others, telling them, well, who are you? Who are you in terms of like your astrological and psychological profiling of yourself, your as above, so below, as within, so without. So yeah, it's supposed to be an interactive experience. I'm not going to stand on one side of the mirror and like preach and be like, you are this, you are this, you are this. No, like it needs to be like us working together, so that when I do send you a product, it is something that you have co-created as a manifester to receive within your own process of self-reflection. And so yeah, like it's no use for me to just Google a bunch of random shit and be like, um, okay, you are born on this day and this is what I read of cafe astrology. Like, no, like who the fuck even does that? But I'm gonna do that because it's like I will need to like create some sort of Enneagram 5 theoretical framework for myself to be like, okay, these are the things you need to reference, you know, because sometimes my mind will just kind of like go for a narrative first. That's why I love the process of natal chart synthesis that I learned through my astrology from the 5 principles of organized complexity. But I also love various other ciphers and cryptids and movies and things like that. So anything, like if you ask me like which character am I in, like in the Matrix, or like if you tell me like I've always loved Pocahontas, like how does that resonate with my chart, or like what does my chart tell you about Pocahontas as like some sort of a archetypal energy that I strongly resonate with, right? And then I can do what I can do, you know. But if I'm gonna be asked to do something generic, like regurgitate something like a website you can do for yourself, like that's not gonna like work for me, and it's not gonna be the best service I can provide for you guys. So if you do order the reading via email, please do just send me as much information that you would want to be synthesized as it relates to questions that you have about yourself or your natal chart. Like if you have your chart, great. If there are things you feel like you don't know about yourself, or if there are things that you just like wonder about, um, let's discuss that as well, because the whole point is like I want to be able to give tailor-made readings for people as it relates to the information that I can get on a first impression. So make your most clear first impression, you know, because at the end of the day, Gene Key 12, discrimination, gate of caution, sun in the seventh house. I can only shine my light based upon that Libra first impression, seventh house, sun conjuncted descendant meeting point of view. And then I don't want to like be told like I'm a dick because it's like I read something in there that like it's like an undeniable astrological potential. But because I don't know you, I don't know if it manifested in your life. You know what I mean? Um, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like people need to stop thinking like a good astrologer is going to be able to like know everything about you and tell you something they like knew you didn't know about yourself, because they are psychic and intuitive and like they are talking to guides and this and that. Like I feel like that is just such hoo-ha. Like I just feel like you are doing the mental process. It is a science, it is an art, it is a intuitive people knowing thing. But the less stimulation you give to my aura as like your vibrational essence, um, the more I can only know you through the numbers and the letters on an archetypal realm. So of course that all of those potentials will feel closer or further away from you depending on how connected you are to like your multiversal potential self, you know. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that, let me know, and I will then start, you know, putting these things into something that is more practical and useful in the everyday sense of the word. You know, like I want to create ideas and concepts for people that can be used every day. And that's my idea for like a key keeper for yourself, you know, like, and we can add to it, we can like build on it, we can um because at the end of the day everybody should have a meta symbol in their name that incorporates their astrology and all the mental fictions that enneagrammatically molds between light and shadow to create the reality that they navigate and unlock within all of their manifestations. So